can see Ashe is just completely zoned. I queue up my Q, and bam, I land it right into her face, and I'm just ulting in on top of them, landing my W, landing my abilities, landing my Q, and I'm slowing Zyra with E, and I go on to Corki, and I pick up that kill with an auto attack and a double up, and now I switch over to the Thresh, which should be an easy kill, and I go ahead and ult with the Darius. I ulti all three of them, and then flash out so that they're stuck in my ultimate and can't chase me. Hey, what's up guys, this is LJ here, Lawrence James coming at you with the 3rd Avenue to Diamond. This will be our last promotional game before we move on to bigger and better things in the upper divisions of, you know, bronze, silver, gold, all the way to diamond. So the rest of the games will be in there, in that facility there, in that area. And so that is what's going on. This is our promotional game 9, and we are playing Nocturne. Nocturne is a great jungler. He has a lot of strong suits. He has a ton of CC. He scales decently into late game. He has a lot of damage. And he can dive onto back row, so he's really good with assassins. And he's pretty decent in this team comp with Fizz and stuff, so I'll be able to dive in team fights with Fizz onto their back row and just do a ton of damage. The way that I like to play Nocturne, I play him very tanky. So the runes and masteries that I run attack damage reds, attack damage quints, magic scaling resist blues, and armor yellows. That's not what I would suggest running, but that's what I have on this account. I would actually suggest running attack speed reds and even attack speed quints if you want, or you could run armor pen quints or whatever. There's a lot of different runes that you could run. That's not really that important, but that is what I have on this account, so I don't have the luxury of changing those out. So we are running the attack damage on this one. But the masteries that I'm running 9, 21, 0. The 21 in defense make you extremely tanky, like I was saying. I just scale you a tank into late game. I may build a damage item on Nocturne. I'll only build like 1 damage item though on Nocturne. That's like my max damage item I would build on him. There's a couple items that would do pretty well, but I'll only do that if I'm doing pretty well mid game. Other than that, I'm gonna just go your normal tank route, like you know, like boots, ninja tap by boots, ancient golem, into Aegis, Solari, and then maybe an Omen. So just go extremely tanky is how I would build him if I wasn't ahead. If I was ahead, I might build a damage item after my Aegis or something like that. Or even before my Aegis if I'm really far ahead. But we just did a normal jungle route that was really simple. Just blue to our red, and then took our race, and now we're going over to wolves. So this is just a very, very basic jungle route. And while you're jungling, you're always looking around the map and looking into different areas that you're going to be able to gank. So it looks like I'm coming around to gank Zed. Zed is going to be extremely hard to gank because he does have flash, he does have his W, and that'll be really hard to gank. But I do want to pressure him because he is pressuring my Fizz really hard here. And Fizz jumps in on him. I land my fear. I pop my W to make sure that I'm not taking as much damage as possible. And I land my snare with my red buff, and Ignite does not take him down. He's actually going to get out of there with like 5 health, so that's really unfortunate. I actually could have flashed and gotten 1 more auto attack, and he definitely would have died from the red buff. So that is really sad. But you got to move on from those plays, and you can see what I'm doing right away. I go and take his Wraith, and now it's really safe for me to counter jungle and take that Wraith right there because Zed is no longer in lane. If Zed was in lane right here, it would be really hard for me to just randomly walk up here and take his Wraith, because if I got caught by Jarvan, Zed would be further across the map than Fizz is, and it'd be really easy for Zed to come and help his Jarvan, and then they could just collide on me and do some damage. So I make them pay a little bit that Zed had to go back, and I just counter jungle. So there's different time. When you're counter jungling, you really have to know when to do it. There's smart times and there's bad times. And that was a smart time for me to do it. So you want to get level 6 as soon as possible because the strength of Nocturne is really surrounded around that mid game. Once you get level 6 and you're able to force out that global pressure, you're going to have a ton of global pressure, and that's kind of how you win games as Nocturne. If you have a strong mid game, then you're going to end up winning majority of those games just because you're able to push teams behind and start fights and counter gank. You're just able to do a lot of different things with that global ultimate that allows you to win games. So farming is very important on Nocturne, more so than other champions. You just want to get level 6, like I said. But so I'm always looking around at the different lanes and seeing how everyone is doing. So here, it's impossible to gank for me, obviously, because they're both behind their turret. But Jarvan is coming down here from the backside, and I see him through the ward. So I am coming down here to make sure that Jarvan doesn't engage on this. But Jarvan, there's no way that Jarvan's going to be engage on this because a couple reasons. First of all, they are way too low. If Ezreal and Italy are so low health that even if they engage and I'm not even there, there's a chance that Ashe would get a kill there. on Ezreal or Nidalee. So unfortunately I stepped into a Nidalee trap there, so they do see me, but I know that Ezreal and Nidalee want to go back, so I help the Ashe push, I Q it, and I use my passive to just push the last minion wave back here, and this way I'm just applying pressure onto this turret. Since my two laners want to lane like this, they want to force pressure onto the turret and make Ezreal miss CS, I'm going to help them do that. And I'm going to come to their lane, push their lane with them, and you can see I'm helping them here. I'm landing Q, harass, and hopefully Ezreal is missing a ton of CS here. And Ashe is just going to be able to get way ahead off of that. So now they're forced to go back, and honestly my bottom lane should probably just win off that alone. But I'll probably be back there with my ultimate and make sure I gank that, because just thinking about, like, every game you need to analyze your team and your team comp and kind of see what lanes you're going to probably be ganking and where you're going to be able to make plays. When you have a Shen on your team, you usually, generally speaking, you don't want to gank for the Shen, because Shen's the advantage you have with Shen is you're able to gank other lanes, and then Shen is able to come in with his ultimate and help you pick up those kills and help you just have that number advantage on those ganks. And that's the advantage you have with Shen. So you don't really want to gank for a Shen. That's like not really ideal. And plus killing Jax as a Shen would be like pretty much impossible, I'm pretty sure. Hopefully Shen gets out of that. That's going to be close. Oh man, Shen was... Oh, okay, so that was a little close there, but it looks like Shen is going to be able to get out of there. And then, as far as ganking mid, Zed is extremely hard with his flash, which is actually on cooldown right now, but even just his W alone, it's insanely hard to gank a Zed. And you really need your ultimate to be able to gank a Zed, otherwise it's just not going to happen. And then bottom lane has a ton of CC, but the thing is, if they were pushing that hard, it's going to be very hard for me to gank that. If they're this far, the only reason I'm going to come down here and help them is to either to dive them under their turret or to counter gank the Jarvan. And that other time I came down here was just basically to counter gank the Jarvan. And so now we do get level 6. I do take the blue buff. This is something I would not suggest always, but I do take it this time. And maybe that's because Fizz is just pushed under his tower and he's not going to be able to really make any plays there. So the Fizz is playing very passive, and that's usually not a good thing with a Nocturne, because one of the best ways to engage on a Nocturne is when your teammates start a fight and then the enemy champion blows some cooldowns, and then you're able to come in with your ultimate and just completely catch them off guard, and they've already used some of their cooldowns, so they're not able to get away, and then you're able to make them pay for that. So that is something that you kind of want your team to play aggressive, and I'm probably painting the Zed and telling Fizz, hey buddy, can you, like, if you engage on him, I got your back, dude, so don't even worry about it. But Fizz is playing very passive, and so it's going to be really hard for us to do that. Zed basically needs to blow his W, or it's going to be really hard to gank him. So it looks like I want to come bottom because I see Jarvan walking through that ward, and I want to counter gank this. But again, they've pushed up to the turret so hard that it would be really hard for Jarvan to gank that. But I do catch the Jarvan, and I let him know I'm here, but he's going to EQ out of there and get out of there pretty safely. So we'll see. I do pop my vision ward right here on top of Dragon, and I see that it's not warded, but it'd be really risky for me to do this because we didn't make Jarvan do anything. If we had gotten some damage on Jarvan, like to half health, and then he'd gotten away, at least we would have, you know, it would have been a potential for us to do the Dragon there, but since Jarvan's at full health, it's going to be really stupid for us to do that. So there, Zed pops his W, so now I have a chance to get a kill here, but Fizz is playing way too aggressive, and it's pretty obvious that I'm standing there from just how Fizz is playing. It would have been better for Fizz to make him pop that W, and then Fizz back off the lane, and maybe Zed walks up without warding this. But now Jarvan is counter-ganking me, and he sees that I'm there. So I don't know that Jarvan is here, but I kind of have an idea now because I see Zed coming around the backside, but I don't get enough of an idea, and Jarvan EQs on top of me. Now I get ulted. I block some damage with my W. Now I flash over the top of here, and I should be able to get out of here safely. But I did have to blow my flash on that, and that was not good. So that was a little unfortunate. I shouldn't have stayed there for so long. I stayed there so long that it was really obvious because Zed saw me go over here, and he never saw me go back. So either I'm through here somewhere, which this ward has this area covered. So either I'm at the Dragon area or I'm in this area, and then that was just really obvious that I was in that area. So really bad gank by me. And I'm trying to force a play because I just know how strong Nocturne is right now, especially when I have that ultimate. I really just want to be able to force a fight. But sometimes you just need to you can't force things. Like sometimes you can't force things like that. That was a misplay by me, and you need to learn from your misplay. So hopefully I don't make that same mistake again this game. That's how you get better at anything in life. I think you get better with your mistakes. You make mistakes, that's fine. You're going to make a mistake. Everyone's human, you're going to make mistakes. But it's learning from those mistakes I know that's kind of like cliche, but if you really apply that theory to League and you analyze your mistakes that you make and you realize how you made them, I promise you guys, you'll get so much better just by analyzing your own mistakes. So here I want to come up and gank Jax. Gank the Jax. I don't know why that sounded funny, but I want to gank the Jax here. So Shen lands a taunt. I come up through the top. I miss my Q, so that was not good. I land my E. I pop my W so I don't get stunned by Jax, but we're not going to have close to enough damage. And like I was saying earlier, not very good to be able to be able to gank the Jax. It's going to be very hard for us to pick up a kill on that. But I do force a little bit of pressure on the Jax, and hopefully my Shen is able to farm a little bit easier. But I don't get much out of that. And so, like, you can just see, so from the times I've wasted ganking top, and I spent that time over here on mid, Jarvan's been farming, and he's actually ahead of me in farm right now. So I have 45 CS, he has 58 CS. So those are things you need to be looking at. Yeah, Jarvan hasn't ganked any lane yet. Or at least I don't think he's ganked any lanes yet. I didn't see him gank any lanes yet. But he's still ahead of me in farm, so he still has more gold. So that's a little unfortunate. Yeah, he's a little more gold than me. Not much, but those leads do make a difference. I want to gank bottom here because this is like one of the first times that their lane is actually overextended to mid lane. And because they've been pushed behind their turret pretty much all game. So this is a really good chance for me to gank. But Ashe has forced the flash out there. And I actually had to go mid because Fizz went back and I didn't want the CS to die to the turret. So that's kind of why I stopped going bottom. But Ashe did have to blow her flash there, so that was unfortunate. And Sona wasn't in lane, so that was another reason why I didn't choose to go bottom. When you're deciding to, like, you never want to leave minions on a turret. That's like overall as a team gold thing. That's guaranteed gold. That's just being completely wasted. If I go bottom and we don't get a kill there, then we don't get anything for it. But if I go mid and make sure I get all that guaranteed CS, then that's more beneficial to your team. So I'm still trying to gank the Zed, but I still need... It's very hard because you need him to pop that W. I can't stress that enough. You need to pay attention to that. If I just waste my ult and jump on top of him and then he W's away, then I just wasted it completely, and there's just no reason for me to do that. So I'm asking my Fizz probably to play aggressive, but there's just no way. Zed is kind of low anyway, so he's probably going to back off that. And my blue buff just came up, so it'd be nice for me to go get my blue buff, get my red buff, because that'll be up right after, and then maybe make a play on bottom or make a play on mid, possibly, if I can. But they do have a ton of armor. I mean, they do have a ton of attack damage, so armor is extremely efficient. So these are things you're thinking about. So not only are you analyzing your team comp and kind of deciding how you want to strategically play the game, you're also deciding on what to build. And it'd be really nice to have some armor this game. So if I can get a Frozen Heart, or if I can get some type of Ninja Tabi, would be really nice this game. I would build Ninja Tabi like almost always, though, anyways, just because Ancient Golem gives you the tenacity, so you don't need Merc Treads, really. Merc Treads would only give you the magic resist. But so we are doing okay. We're doing decently. We are a level ahead of the Jarvan, possibly. Yeah, we're like maybe not a full level ahead, but we're a little bit ahead. It looks like Jarvan wants to gank my Fizz. My Fizz is not warded yet either, and so when you're seeing your mid lane not warding, it's very hard to gank a Fizz though, anyways, because it's kind of like Zed, because he's able to just jump away. But when you see your mid lane not warding, you might want to buy wards for him, and like I tend not to say anything to them if they're not warding, because I might say, hey, you might want to buy a ward or something, but I'll never like completely stress the idea, because a lot of people aren't just going to buy wards, and that's just how it is, so you need to make up for it. Ashe lands her ulti here. I ulti in the background. I land a fear, and you can see I'm chasing him down and making sure that he was still going to get fear there. Now Nidalee jumps away, and I know there's no way that we're going to be able to chase the Nidalee down, so I go ahead and push the minion wave, push this lane up, and just hopefully get some damage on this turret. Or we can go do Dragon. And it looks like I want to do Dragon, but we'll see. So my bottom lane does not look like they're going to come help me do Dragon. And Fizz, it'd be really hard for him to make his way over here, because Zed looks like he's going to want to engage on him. So Fizz jumps on him. Zed does not see me yet through the ward, and since he knows I blew my ultimate, he thought I was safe. But I flash in on top of him, and he flashes away, so that's unfortunate. But I land my Q, and I'm not going to be able to pick up that kill. And he actually had flash, so that's the reason why I didn't chase him. I could have continued to chase him on if he didn't have flash, but I knew that he had flash up, and there was no point for me to turret dive that, because I would not have been able to get that. But so you can see I did flash in on top of the Zed, and he just W'd out of there. So that was a little unfortunate, because I wasted a bigger cooldown than his W would be. But that's something that happens. And so CS-wise, we are actually almost have the highest on our team, and we're keeping up with almost everyone. Jax has a little bit more than us, so this is a very farm-heavy game so far. But that can change. That can change in a matter of moments. If there's one dragon fight, if there's one team fight for a buff or anything, there's a team fight in lane, that can completely snowball the game around from a farm game to a complete objective control and team fight battle game. So, and if that stuff's going to happen, you're just going to have to adjust accordingly and play differently. So I go ahead and pick up the Ancient Golem and the Tabi Boots, and now I actually get a Longsword. So like I was saying earlier, sometimes I'll pick up a damage item onto Nocturne, and there's a few damage items that really help. Blade of the Rune King is really nice. Hydra is really nice. What else is nice? Brutalizer is really nice, and build that into a Black Cleaver or something like that. So we'll see what I do this game, but those items are pretty good. So here I want to gank the Jax because I see how overextended he is. So Jax shields himself and then taunts in. I land my fear onto him, and Shen ignites him as well, and he actually gets feared under the tower, and so Shen gets out of there with a nick of health, and we'll be okay. So that was good by us. That was really good timing on me to gank the lane at that precise moment. Like I said, I don't tend to gank for Shen lanes, but that was just way too good to pass up. So here I am actually pushing up the lane because Shen is going to benefit from this, because you can see I smited. I'm just pushing as fast as I can to get this onto the turret, and now Jarvan is forced to come top. This is a good play by Jarvan to come up here, because you don't, like I said earlier, you don't want to lose all this CS to the turret, and you want somebody on your team to get that. But I basically push all that up, and Jax just missed all that CS. So it would have been better for Shen to actually push that lane with me instead of going back right there. He actually went back right there, but it would have been better for him to go ahead and push that lane with me and get that experience and that CS edge onto the Jax and just put himself further ahead. So not only the kill that put the Jax behind, but it would have been better to get that CS and put him further ahead. So, but we are doing okay. I mean, our bottom lane is going pretty even. It's still anyone's game. We are up in gold now after those kills, because bottom lane actually got a double kill, I believe. Not sure what happened actually down there, but I think they got a double kill. So here I flash in, or I ult in onto the Zed, and since I saw Zed pop his W there, I knew this should be an easy kill for us, but he still does have his flash. Zed ults in on me. I get Shen ulted, and I'm tanking the tower. You notice I'm tanking the tower so Fizz can jump in there and finish off the kill. He gets that kill. Nidalee support jumps in on the backside, and Fizz dodges that with his E, and he's going to be able to get out of there okay. So I actually decided to ult the Zed because I saw him pop his W, and I knew there was no way he was going to get out of there, only with flash. And he ended up flashing away, but we were still able to pick up that kill with the Shen. So that's how you take advantage of a Shen. You can dive turrets, you can make plays that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to make. So here Jarvan EQs in, and I just pop my W and just kind of juke around his EQ and make sure that he's not going to land that on me. And we get out of there pretty safely. So we're doing really well now. We're farming. We're still farming well. It's still kind of a farmish game. You can see we have the highest farm. Not in the game, but we have the highest farm on our team. So now, now both my laners are back. Shen is stuck at his turret, and I'm all alone here at my blue buff. So Jax jumps in on me with his stun. I block the stun with my W. So a good block, and now I start to fear the Jax, and Jax just runs away because he knows he's going to get feared. I'm going to get away, but they are going to steal my blue buff. So that's unfortunate that Fizz went back, and that their support is actually applying pressure onto my jungle, which is unfortunate. And Ezreal was actually, I think, ulted across there. I think I saw an ult. But at the same time, we were able to take bottom because of that. So yeah, we lost the blue buff for it, which is bad, but should be able to get away. So hopefully Ashe is able to get away here. This is going to be really close. Fizz jumps in to try to help him, but yeah, they're going to be able to pick up that kill on our Ashe, so that's never good. And nobody has still taken a dragon yet. I haven't had one chance to take a dragon. But they are pressuring mid here. They're grouping up mid, and I just want to push out this minion wave as fast as possible, and just make sure the turret switches over to the players and rather than the minions. So you want to, like, when that's going on, when they're just pressuring the tower, you want to pick up those minion kills as fast as possible so that the turret no longer can target those minions, and it has to target a champion. So it just kind of stops their push that way. But I do go back to red. It looks like I'm killing red, and just hopefully my team's able to defend this turret, but it'd be really hard probably. Shen lands a nice taunt, and Ezreal ults in, and they're just doing a ton of poke damage to us. But I am coming around the backside, and I'm just kind of waiting around here to see if they overextend at all. If any of those guys overextend, so Nidalee just jumped in, and now her W is on cooldown, but I jump in onto the back row with the Sona ult. I land my fear onto the Ezreal. You can see how I followed Ezreal all the way up here, and then I ulted him to make sure that we were able to pick up that kill before he's able to E out of there. And Sona actually was able to pick up the kill, but I did ulti onto the Ezreal right before he died, and that was just because my fear duration was just about to be over, and I wanted to make sure that there was no way that he was going to get away from that kill. So you can see, positioning your fears as Nocturne is one of the most fundamental skills that you need to play Nocturne. When you fear somebody, you need to make sure that you're walking, even if it means staggering your auto attack. If you're not using your auto attack, you just need to make sure you land that fear. Because a lot of times, if you position yourself properly, even if they flash away, if you're standing right on top of them or even ahead of them with your fear, you're still going to be able to land your fear off. And that was a good example, because I was starting to fear Ezreal and he flashed away, but I was still moving with him while he flashed, and I was still able to land that fear on him. So you're able to pick up a lot of kills like that. I see a lot of Nocturne players, they start their fear and then they just stand behind them like auto-attacking them, like, you know, just auto-attacking them, and then they jump away and the fear doesn't land because of that. And a lot of times they would be able to. So you can still see I'm still farming as much as possible. I'm really protecting this turret. I don't want this turret to die if we can. We are 2-0-2. I did pick up that Brutalizer, and I actually picked up a Ruby Crystal on my last back. Ruby Crystal, as I've said in my other videos, it's an item that you can build a lot of different things into. I'm probably looking to build an Aegis this game. But Ruby Crystal is a really safe item if you don't know what to build, because you can build that into pretty much every single type of item. Magic resist, you know, even some armor, I think items build out of Ruby Crystal, but like Aegis and stuff. So then, and Aegis is actually really nice, even though it does provide magic resist, which isn't really that great. Magic resist is only going to help me against Jax, really, and not very much, because he's pretty much going to be all AD damage anyways. But it's still really nice to get that bonus armor for your teammates. So still build Aegis, but like Frozen Heart's a really good item against all AD. And obviously health like Sunfire Cape and Omen, or those are really good items. So now I see that they're doing Dragon, and I'm coming in from the backside, and Sona wards over the top, and hopefully this stops them from doing the Dragon. That was a really strange Dragon for them to even attempt, because Jarvan's not even close to them. So here I know Ezreal ease away, and I ulti on top of him because I know that his flash is down and he has no way to escape this. Fizz ult in as well, and unfortunately Sona picks up the kill, but we're able to pick that kill up as well. And now I'm able to pick up that last kill onto Nidalee with my Q. And now we can probably do the Dragon. So that was huge for us. And Zed is just roaming around here trying to kill my Ashe. But it looks like Ashe is going to be okay. So like I was saying, that was a really strange Dragon for them. I guess they decided to do the Dragon just because we didn't have it warded. But I had a sense that they were doing it. So once Sona warded over the top, it was like they were just kind of stuck. And you can see how I used my ultimate there. When we were chasing down the Ezreal, I waited until he eat away, and that was a huge mistake. Once he arcane shifted away, I knew that I could gap close that with my ultimate and be able to kill him. If I just ulted right away when he was right here, and I ult him and then he ease away, there's really good chance he's probably going to get out of there alive. But if you wait until he uses his escape mechanic, like whatever champion you're chasing down, if you wait until they use their escape and then use your ultimate, you're going to be fine. So we are 3-0-3. We have a ton of CS, and we have a ton of gold right now. And we're up at 9-3. So you can see a lot of stuff didn't happen early game for us. We're 23 minutes in the game, and not a lot happened early game. But that's okay, because we're still made plays in mid game, and hopefully this scales us in the late game. Now I go ahead and finish up the Locket of Solari. A really good item. Especially on Nocturne, because you can dive right in, pop Solari, and just be really tanky. Unfortunately, they do dive my Ashe there, so that's never good. And Jarvan escapes with a little bit of health. But you can see I jump right in onto Zed. We Fizz lands his ultimate onto him, and Zed fails a flash. And we're able to pick up that kill. So now I ult and wait until Nidalee jumps away. As soon as Nidalee jumps away, bam, I ulti in on top of her. I land the fear. I get exhausted, but this should be an easy pickup, and Shen's going to go ahead and pick up that kill. And so, yeah, they were able to kill our Ashe, but we were able to follow up damage and do a ton of damage back to them and pick up 2 kills of our own. So we ended up winning that trade, and now it looks like we can push onto this turret. I'm going to go ahead and back out of there and pick up our blue buff, clear our buffs off the map. That's kind of an easy logic to follow. The faster you clear your blue buff, the faster you clear your buffs, the more buffs you're going to be able to get throughout a game. You really don't want to leave those buffs up for very long, because obviously once you kill it, 5 minutes it's going to respawn, so you can get more blues out or more reds out, whatever objective you're going after, you can get more of throughout the game. And that goes for Dragon, that goes for Baron, that goes for all types of objectives. So there, bam, Ashe is able to land a kill onto our Ezreal, onto their Ezreal. And now my team is doing a pretty decent job. We're a decent amount of gold ahead, but not that much. They're actually farming a lot better than we are overall. Even though we were able to get a dragon and we're still way up at kills, you can see that we're barely ahead in gold. And there's actually a few reasons for that. They do have more turrets, and they have all of our tier 1 turrets down. And we only have 1 turret down. So the objective at this point in the game is really we need to start getting some turrets. We need to start getting some turrets and maybe force some team fights. Because we probably could win some team fights right now, I would think. We're starting to get to the point where we're getting out of mid-game. We probably have another 5 to 10 minutes of mid-game, and then it'll be late game. So as playing Nocturne, you need to really end the game at this point. So Jax is overextending here onto the Shen, really trying to kill him. He flashes away, and notice my fear still goes off because of the way I was positioned. And we're able to pick up that kill. I pick up the kill on him. You can see right there, right? So I come in to kill the Jax, and I fear him, and you notice I'm positioning this way so that no matter if he flashes back here, he's only going towards our own base, and we're going to be able to pick him up anyways because he's probably not going to be able to get away from this area, although that would have been his best bet to flash this way. But he flashed back towards his turret to try to get away, and my fear range was still enough to be able to fear him, so he's not going to be able to get out of that. At the same time, though, we got that top turret. The other team made a really good play, and Fizz and Ashe were not able to hold off 4 of their members, and they just pushed down mid and got that turret for us. So even though we got a kill on Jax, it's still not that great because they were able to push that. I know that they're around here, and I think that if we can catch them, then we might be able to get a kill, but I go ahead and push up this wave and just apply pressure on this side of the map for them. And maybe we can pick up a mid turret here. But it looks like Zed jumps in. He pops his W there, so I know if we can get onto him, then he's going to be in trouble. So he ults in on top of me. I pop my W there just to avoid some damage. I get Shen ulted, and I continue to stay on top of them since I'm Shen ulted. I jump onto the Ezreal and fear him. See how my fear still lands even though he arcane shifts away? Now I'm just doing a ton of damage to all of them. I split back. We pick up the kill on Zed, pick up the kill onto the Ezreal. I use my ultimate onto the Nidalee. It looks like Nidalee's going to be able to get out of there. I land my W on her, but Shen goes in for the complete dive. Not sure if that's a good idea. I'm trying to protect him though. And now I'm going ahead and fearing the Jax who was overextending trying to kill the Shen, and I pick up the quick kill onto the Nidalee with my Q and an auto attack. And now I switch over to the Jax and we're able to pick up a kill on Jax. So it ended up being okay, but that was extremely risky by the Shen to go ahead and keep diving that. So you can see kind of how I like to play team fights. As Nocturne, I'm just pretty much targeting whoever I can, but I really want to focus on the Ezreal. Once Ezreal got ulted by the Ashe, I went right onto the Ezreal and pretty much just swapped him full time and was just dedicating full time to killing him because that was the most important piece of that fight. Once we killed the Ezreal, after that point, it was just pretty much protecting my team. Still diving onto the backline, because when you dive onto the backline, there's like a reason you do that. A lot of times you do it to kill them, but a lot of times you just do it to zone them out from killing your own teammates. Let's say, like that team fight right there, if I switched over to maybe, I don't know, the Jarvan, who was diving in, and just like helped kill Jarvan with my team, then the other team is killing either me or they're killing someone else on my teammate. But if I go in on them, on the back line, then I'm able to focus pressure on them, and they're not going to be able to just pump free damage into us. So that team fight really helped us, and now we're really far ahead in gold. We're 4K up from that team fight because we were able to push objectives. We got 2 mid towers off of that, and we won the team fight. So that was huge for our team. And that was the mid-game fight that was just super important for our team, and we needed to win that. And we did. So now Dragon is back up, and we're going to continue to push on to Dragon. Shen has to go back because Jax is actually pushing top extremely hard, which is a good play by him. He's applying pressure on the top of the map, but he looks like he's nervous because they don't have many wards out right now. And this is like, you can tell that wards are just so important because Jax has no idea where we are. So instead of just applying pressure to that tower and possibly getting that turret, he actually has to go back. And Shen is just going to be able to save that turret for us, so that was nice. I come in from the backside because we were able to catch them out of position. I jump right in onto Nidalee, pick up that kill. Ashe picks up the kill on Ezreal, and this should be really easy for us. I ult in onto the Jarvan. I kind of waited to see if he was going to EQ out of there, but I ulted. I jump right on top of him. I fear him, and we're able to pick up that kill really easily. So now we just picked up 3 people. We caught them out of position. That's what I'm saying with wards, guys. Wards are extremely important in this elo, and you can see what happens when you don't have wards. That's what happens right there. Everyone on your team should be buying wards, and I'm pretty much buying wards every time I have the slots. So you can actually see I did I left the Brutalizer there, and now I'm building a Glacial Shroud and a Warden's Mail, so I'm looking to go Frozen Heart. Jax jumps in from the backside and lands right in onto the Ashe. I know if he kills my Ashe, we're going to be in trouble, so I fear the Jax and start peeling for my Ashe there, and I'm jumping in onto the Jax here. I'm diving on top of him. I have to kill him fast. I do pick up the kill there, and now Shen lands a nice ulti onto me, and you can see I'm just tanking some of the tower hits because I know the shield is actually taking those turret hits, and I'm actually not taking any real health by taking that tower there. So I'm standing over here on the side, and I'm still protecting my team. Sona lands a nice ulti, and I'm going ahead. I try to fear the Zed, but he's going to W out of there and get out of there as well. So now Ezreal is in, but it's extremely dangerous for us to be fighting this, and I'm out of mana. Sona's going back, and Shen is in a lot of trouble. It doesn't look like Shen's going to be able to get out of here, and I'm just going to go back and just not make the situation any worse than it already is. If I was to go in right there and try to help my Shen, if I die, that's a potential Baron, and that's a throw. We were throwing kind of because Shen died, but it'd be even worse if I went in to try to help him. So those situations, you really need to judge whether you can go in and make it better, or whether if you going in is going to make it worse. And in that scenario, I made the right decision, and I just backed out of there. So I do finish up the Frozen Heart, and now I have a ton of armor. I'm reducing attack speed, so Jax isn't going to be that much of a force with my Frozen Heart. And I'm still building armor. I build a Chain Vest, and that could build into a Sunfire Cape. That could build into a Guardian's Angel. But I think a Sunfire Cape would probably be more respectable in this matchup. And now I just go right onto blue buff. I am level 17, and what level is Jarvan? He's level 16, so we are a little bit ahead of their jungler, and our farm is looking really nice. We have the highest farm in the game right now. We're tied with Jax, and we are 809, so we have a ton of gold right now. You can just see how tanky I am, and I'm almost impossible to kill at this point. And this is almost a way you can win the game just based off of armor alone, just based off of their team comp and the fact that we can just stack armor, and it's going to be very hard for them to do any damage late game. So here they kind of catch the team out of position, the enemy team, and I ult in from the backside, but unfortunately they do kill the Zed as my ult lands, and so I didn't even need to ult that target, but that's okay. I pop my W here just to avoid some damage. I flash in because I saw Ezreal pop his E, and I knew if I landed my fear he was dead, but Ezreal go ahead and ease out of there as well, but we're going to pick up the kill on him anyways, because we're just able to chase him down with slows and whatnot. And now we should just continue to press onto this turret. You can see I tried to block the Nidalee spear there with my W, and but anyways, it missed both of us, and no one got hit, but I do get hit by that one. But he is a support Nidalee, so you can see what I'm doing right here. I'm fearing the Jarvan and just tanking the tower. Look at how tanky I am. Look at how much armor I have. I'm just tanking the turret the whole time. I pop Solari, and I'm kind of hoping my team just pressures the turret and hits the turret, but they didn't really hit the turret, so that didn't really get much done there. But I am still so tanky right now that I'm very hard to kill, and it's going to be very hard for them to kill me. So you can see I pop my W there. I finish up the turret first, and then I switch over to Jax. I land my fear on him. I jump right onto him. Jarvan ults both of us. I get the kill onto Jax, and now I ulti in onto the Jarvan. Unfortunately, I have to peel back because it is under the tower, and I'm going to be in trouble if I continue onto that. And I just peel back for my Ashe, and we pick up the kill on the Zed. And now we are just pushing onto their turrets and looking to end the game. This is the kind of how you extend the lead. We had you can see how even it was early game, and as soon as we got a little bit of a lead in that mid game, you just completely punish the team. So now I'm going into their base. I'm taking their buffs. I'm doing everything that we can in our power to extend this lead. And at this point in the game, we're still not up a significant amount of gold to the point where we can just do whatever and still win the game. We still need to be organized. We still need to I still need to be able to lead this team to a victory. And so what I'm going to do is I get home guard, so that's nice. And I'm just going to go bottom, and I'm telling my team, hey, let's go bottom or let's go top. And then either we can have Shen split, or we can just push onto a tower. So Shen and Ashe do a ton of damage there with the Wombo combo, and Ashe is able to pick up that kill. So now my teammates are super ahead, and this should be another easy pickup, and Sona is actually getting really fed. It seems like Sona has so many kills. Oh, she only has 4 kills, but it seems like she's gotten a lot of kills this game. But she only has 4 kills, but that's still really good. My teammates have played really well this game. If you look at the scores, I mean, the scores are really nice. That is like what you want to see from your teammates. A 1-2-12 Shen. That may not seem amazing, but that's actually really strong. Like a support Shen like this, where he has a ton of armor, is just really good for your team. And you can see, just look at my farm total. Throughout the entire game, I'm still farming. And this is something that low elos tend not to do. Even if they have really good farm early game, they tend not to continue that farm into late game. And you need to continue to keep that farm into late game, because the minions actually give you more money anyways when you get into late game. But it's still very important to continue to CS and keep your mechanics going throughout the late game. So I'm just pushing onto this turret and making sure that we're extending this lead. We could potentially look to do Baron, but I don't want to have a Baron throw. In solo queue, that happens a lot, so I tend not to do Baron unless it's unless I want to force a team fight and I need to force a team fight, or we're just so far ahead that it's like a free Baron, 100% free Baron. If we get a team fight win too, is another time you want to do Baron. But like a time like this when everyone's alive and we're just pushing onto them because we're ahead is not the best time to do the Baron. So here we jump onto the Jax, but we need to be a little careful because their whole team is here and it's only me and Fizz. So I don't want to engage on that. So I just go ahead and run past Jax, and now I just want to do the Dragon and just get out of here freely. So at this point in the game, this is where your damage spikes downwards. It doesn't spike up at all. I don't know what you call that, a down spike, whatever. But Nocturne's damage is not that great at this point in the game. Even with your Brutalizer, even if you finally build that into a Black Cleaver, your damage is really not that great. And at this point in the game, you were just a tank. And that is how I like to play him. And so that's kind of what we're doing here. But I ult, and now look, I wait until Nidalee jumps away. And even though I'm jumping in onto the support, if I can pick up this kill onto Nidalee, it'll be really good for us. So Zed jumps in, I pops the Larry, and go ahead and jump in onto the Zed. I get exhausted by the Nidalee and do a ton of damage to him. I pick up the kill onto the Zed. Now I go right back onto the Nidalee. Now look at the fear. I land the fear. Look at how I'm walking. I'm staggering my auto attack so that I'm able to still land the fear onto the Nidalee. She pops her little item there that gives her a shield, and we're able to pick up that kill. Or Safari, whatever that thing is called. What is that Nidalee item called? Here we are. The Seraph's Embrace. So that's what that is. And now they go ahead and surrender because we would be able to push on to their turret since we aced them. And that is how I like to play Nocturne. So thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe.